Welcome to the presentation about phenomenal awareness. Becoming aware of the site, the dual nature of consciousness graded and dichotomous. My name is Katarzyna Panecka and I am the president of the Student Scientific Association of Psychology ADESSA. In the following presentation, I will discuss the main evidence on the nature of phenomenal awareness. The nature of consciousness has been subject to scientific debate for decades. Scientists have become particularly interested in how consciousness can be explained from the neuronal side. Daniel Dennett is taking the position that all consciousness comes from the brain. By contrast, David Chalmers believes that the brain's processes are not sufficient to explain different subjective experiences. In addition to this main dispute, there are still others no less important that direct us to what the true nature of consciousness is. One of the most important issues is whether phenomenal awareness is more like a graded process or more a categorical and dichotomous one. Even though this problem has been discussed for many years, the issue is still not clear. It seems that enormous progress has been made and now we can deliberate on which level would awareness be graded and on which it would be dichotomous. At the beginning, it is worth mentioning that neural evidence mostly supports dichotomous view. Mechanism associated with the ability to access something and be aware of that seem to be an all or none process. One of the important theories in this regard is the global neuronal workspace theory. This theory was originally stated by Bars, and it seems to be one of the most important theories of consciousness research. According to global neuronal workspace theory, our consciousness is integrative. The information that we become aware of something can be accessed after different subnetworks of neuronal system with some parts of the information are connected in and become the whole. This theory states that only when sensory input is strong enough, so bottom-up stimulus strength, and neural ignition in the global neuronal workspace happens, we can become aware of the stimuli. The top-down attention strengthens the processing related to the stimuli. Only when stimuli pass the threshold, the start of the neural ignition appears. So, according to global neuronal workspace theory, phenomenal awareness is like a dichotomous experience. We either are aware of something or not. Another theory that seems to be on the same page is multiple draft theory stated by Daniel Dennett. Multiple drafts theory says that all different unconscious experiences compete for neuronal attention and only one can become the conscious one. In fact, everyone is surrounded by multiple sensory experiences and only some may come to the consciousness. It happens because some stimuli are clearly stronger than others. So as in global neuronal workspace theory, in multiple drafts theory, it is also stated that the stronger stimulus can get more neuronal attention than others, and thus we become aware of that stimulus. So, we can say that according to multiple drafts theory, phenomenal awareness has also dichotomous character. One can become aware of the strong enough stimulus or not. There is no state in between. Although these two theories explain how we become aware of an experience, it is still important to also highlight what areas of the brain are involved in the emergence of consciousness. Neural correlates of consciousness can be defined as the minimal neuronal mechanism jointly sufficient for any specific conscious percept. Dehaene and colleagues states that the neural correlates of consciousness form a large network with areas of frontal, parietal, and temporal cortex areas. This network allows the brain to reach sensory information and reach many different areas of the brain where it is processed and made aware. At the same time, when the connection between areas in the network weakens, so does awareness. Besides the neurological evidence, it is still a matter of debate if phenomenal awareness is really a dichotomous process. David Chalmers claims that neuroscientific evidence is not sufficient to understand and explain our unique subjective experience. Many researchers now claim that awareness can also be graded. Jonkisz, Wierzchoń, and Binder suggest that consciousness can be seen as a four-dimensional process, which would be phenomenological, the semantic, the physiological, and the functional levels. They suggest that on each of these levels, awareness can be seen as a graded process. On the phenomenological level of awareness, the informational quality of the stimulus would be graded. Our experiences of perceiving the world are always more or less vivid, sharp, intense, or clear. So everything that we might mention, think of, or refer to in response to the question, what is it like to have that particular conscious content, and how was that particular content experienced, relate to the phenomenal dimension. Next, the semantic gradedness is about the relation of the experiences and the reference. On the basic level of semantic awareness, we can be aware of something. On the higher level, we can be aware of being conscious of something, and on the highest level, we could be aware that someone else is conscious about something else. The physiological gradedness, as the name suggests, is about the physiology. It was recently discovered that we can distinguish various forms of impairment of consciousness. It can be done by comparing a perturbational complexity index, which is the parameter based on the cortical patterns of electrophysiological responses to neural network perturbation. The research confirmed that people with normal waking consciousness have higher values of this index than people with severely impaired consciousness. Finally, on the functional level, awareness can be graded as we have sets of different flexible actions that provide consciousness processing. In different situations, the same information can be important or not. In one situation, then we are aware of that, and on the other, when it is not important, we are not. Some researchers, like Windy and Clearmans, argue that on some levels awareness can be graded, and on some levels it can be dichotomous. Imagine that you are standing in front of starry night over the Rhone. Would you describe this visual experience as graded or dichotomous? So the question is on which level the phenomenal awareness is graded and on which it is dichotomous. Becoming aware of the stimulus that is on the semantic level as words or numbers seems to be dichotomous. The research shows that we can either be aware of the word or not at all. We cannot distinguish between a state in which we would be somehow partially aware of a particular word. The same goes for facial processing. The study by Letter and colleagues shows that we either identify a face or not. We cannot identify a face because of the low duration of the stimuli. However, colors are processed differently. It is not clear when we become aware that yellow is yellow and when yellow becomes red. There are different shades and vibrance of colors, and it is not clear when we become aware of that particular one. So, to summarize, it seems that different aspects of stimulus can be either dichotomous or graded, and therefore awareness can be on some basic levels, as colors, graded, and on the higher levels, as recognizing words, dichotomous. Thank you for your attention.